Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen, we have reached week 14, which means we have reached the culmination of an entire season's worth of blood, sweat, and fantasy tears. It is make it or break it. Who is in, who is out? We are going to find out this week as 7 fantasy managers hunt for only 3 playoff positions. Of course, we know Brennan, Austin, and Jonathan, not in that order, have already secured the 3 top positions. So join your Commissioner Joe Johnson for a Week 14 breakdown. Before we do, take a moment, like and subscribe, get us out there. I don't know, I would say most of you, some of us play the full 18 weeks, some of us play 17, some people's playoffs is the first round this week. The majority of people, this is the last week of the regular season. Wherever you are out there watching, if going over what happens here in the Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen helps you prepare for your fantasy playoffs, get us out there, let people know. If you are a member and you're here, you're ready to hear everything that is about to happen to you, what you could do to someone else, where you're going to end up. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, strap in, find something to eat, find something to drink, turn up the volume on your listening device because it is time, the last time for the regular season, to break down a week and preview what is going to happen. So here we go, and we're going to start in a game in and of itself. When we look at the grandeur of the league, doesn't have a lot of panache on it. It doesn't look great. It's down in the gutter, in the mud. These owners are eliminated. But let's go into the microcosm that is going to be this match, and that is Josh Johnson taking on Evan Coles, 3-10, 5-8. And if this is going to help separate you, unfortunately, it's not going to be a lot of position movement just yet, but it is so important to, if you're these owners, to get towards the upper tier of what is the consolation ladder. And that's what's important to remember. If you're in the consolation ladder, it's a ladder. You're stacked like the rungs of a ladder. You play the person on the rung above or below you, and you advance like that. In the playoffs, the championship playoffs, we use a bracket system. So much like the playoffs in the NFL, or it's more, at least in fantasy, really kind of like basketball is a better way. So your first 1 and 2 seeds, we know, get buys. And then, of course, those 3 and 6, 5 and 4 teams play in round 1. So very important, like I said, that these owners get towards the upper echelon, as far away from the bottom. And Josh, you're right there. So very important that you don't want to be the team that is going to be Jack at the very, very bottom. So he could, if Jack were to get a win, that's going to put him with you. And I don't know if you or him have, it's not really a worry to me if you or him have beat each other. So I have set this match up enough. So let's go ahead and dive into it. And unfortunately, Josh, Injured Reserves 4.0, Mr. Glass. It's not a title I like to hand out, and I was hoping, if you remember, go back and watch previous episode, I did not want to hand out this title, but 100% handing it out to you. And, I mean, there's just nobody. No CMC, no Jordan Mason. You're hoping Alexander Madison plays. No J.K. Dobbins. Rashad Bateman's beat up. Not that you're hoping it. It's just, we're just hope and a wing and a prayer, and your hopes and wings and prayers are broken, my beloved cousin. So you're probably just you hunting drop, dude. It's week. You are so low. It's week 14. Hunt for whatever life is out there. Drop whoever. Pick up and start whoever. If they have a great matchup, if you think they can, just do it. Okay. You know, give Evan a run for his money here. The notable plays, obviously, Puka. Jared Goff gets Thursday night football, and that could be a big game with Green Bay. Now, Green Bay has a stingy defense, so does Detroit, and so this could be a very defensive game, low scoring game, not a big old shootout. I could also see it being a huge shootout. I also could see that. I mean, that's how it's going to be a defensive game and it's close, a offensive shootout and it's close, or Detroit is just going to kick the ever mother loving poop out of Green Bay. Those are the only three scenarios that I think are possible out of like four possible scenarios. But nevertheless, hey, my podcast, say what I want. So again, Josh, hopes, wings, prayers. That's what you got going on here. And just the desire to not, I mean, we put something together to keep you from being forever unclean. Evan, it's actually looking like a pretty good matchup. A win here, 6-8, definitely gets you towards the upper echelon. I don't know if it will be enough at the end of the day. I think there's going to be some 7-7 teams here that are going to be ahead of you. But if the right things happen with the right matchups, maybe 6-8 here, and they get you towards the upper echelon. It's a 47-point game line in your favor, sir. Patty Mahomes coming out, and please, for the love of God, Evan, don't mess around. Don't muck around. You know Tampa Bay is playing Carolina. Start, for the love of Pete, start Baker Mayfield. Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris in Thursday Night Football. Josh Jacobs in Thursday Night Football against Detroit. Green Bay has a great front seven, and they're like number 8 defense right now, something like that. So taper expectations here. Najee Harris, Cleveland. Cleveland has a sticky defense, but I mean, look what happened last week with Denver. It turned into a shootout. So I don't necessarily think this is going to happen in a divisional game. This is going to be a hard-fought game. But the thing you like is I think this is going to be in the cold. Look how cold it is in Oklahoma right now. And that means more running the ball, which is going to be a good thing for Najee here. Justin Jefferson and Christian Watson, wide receivers 1 and 2. You love the matchup with Justin Jefferson in Atlanta. Christian Watson, on the other hand, he's as up and down a roller coaster, and with Detroit, who knows? So that one, the 10 points I think is a very nice projection. If that, I mean, you could be looking at a 3-point night. You could be looking at a 20-point night. Very interesting. I do think Green Bay plays from behind, so that could be a plus in your favor here. Njoku, Pittsburgh, you know me, love the tough matchups with tight ends. Take it. Jameis Williams, I think lots of tension on Amon St. Brown. I think Jameis Williams, my God. Jameson Williams, my God. That's all, folks, right? Okay. Jameson Williams, there we go, is going to, I think, have a nice night. My goodness. Dallas, stop. Evan, come on, man. Are you paying attention? Do you want to? I think you've made very simple mistakes that you could easily have ended up in the playoffs if you just did a couple things like play Baker a couple times and not run Dallas. You got to get out of the hard hit mindset of this is who I drafted. I got to stick with them. Play the waiver wire a little more, my friend. Make a little more trades. And I would suggest that for many people, okay? It doesn't always work in your favor. Look at me, fighting for a spot. Look at Josh. And Josh is also dealing with a very bad injury bug. Very, very, very bad. Nevertheless, the last time these two teams met, it was a shellacking 102-70, and it was in favor of, yet again, you, Evan, and I definitely think it's going to go that way again. So give me Forever Unclean to get a win here on the last week of the regular season. Game 2 will feature another one of our owners that is also eliminated, also struggling. It's a large game line. We're going to have Jack Little Raven taking on the number 6, Derek Ash. And unfortunately, Jack, a lot of injuries happening for you as well. A couple of trades that weren't so good. And, just trying to salvage what is the year and trying to create some upset. Let me tell you, sir, if you get a win this week, you will have one of the biggest upsets of the year. Um, if you were to get a win, it will get you to 3 and what is probably going to be a tie with Josh at 3-11, which means you may jump him again. I don't know what your match is, but that would be huge. It still means a first round Forever Unclean matchup, but again, being that better seed, and I think you have a little more life. That would be a very, very important thing to have. The biggest thing you do is you may eliminate Derek from the playoffs. A 7-7 Derek, and I'm kind of switching to you now, bud. A loss here at 7-7 with tie up, head-to-head matchup losses to myself and Chandler. You could be pushed out if Aaron were to win, because I believe he has a win against you. So very important that you get a win. I don't think we have to worry about that. Obviously, you can read the screen. The game line is 32 points, well in your favor, Mr. Consistency. And I don't believe you even need to be Mr. Consistent to win this game. I do not say that to slight you, Mr. Little Raven. It is just the facts. It is a far superior team matchup. This is probably not trying to tip my hat, but probably a win in your favor, Derek. I would not be playing Kirk Cousins. Go to the waiver wire. There are people you can play that are not Kirk Cousins. He is not going, and the Minnesota has a great defense when it comes to quarterbacks and the secondary. You can you can pass on Minnesota, but they have a good run defense. But this is not it. It's a great matchup for Mooney. It's a great matchup for London. I said that backwards. You can pass on Minnesota. They have a good front seven. That's where they really come in. But this is just, Kirk Cousins hasn't shown you. I think this is a good day for Drake London and Derek Mooney comes back, but not a necessarily good day for Kirk Cousins. Travis Etienne gets Tennessee. They have a very good defense, taper expectation. Raheem Mostert, touchdown dependent, taper expectation. DK Metcalf and DJ Moore, Arizona and San Francisco, stingy defenses. It's just really a tough week 14. Evan Ingram gets Tennessee. We just talked about it. Jacksonville just lost Trevor Lawrence. Not good. Believe me, as someone who has a piece of Jacksonville, not great. I love the use check play. Could easily be a touchdown here on Chicago. You can run on them and talk about another team. That's who I was thinking of when I was looking at Minnesota. It's the opposite. You can run on Chicago, and they're better against quarterbacks and the secondary. That's the matchup. So I could easily see Juszczyk getting a goal line run or two here, even a pass. Obviously, you're going to switch your defense here as Baltimore's on a bye. McPherson is also going to be replaced here. There's going to be some points coming back here. Not a whole lot, but a handful. So maybe this game becomes like a 20-point swing instead of a 32-point swing. If you're lucky, even then, it is all boom or bust. It's wings and prayers, much like Josh, and those wings and prayers are pretty shattered. Derek, it's a great time to have a this kind of matchup when there are tough. It is. After this game, you want to talk about tough matchups. Every single matchup is just a dogfight. So Derek, you get a wounded and tough opponent. I don't want to say you get an easy opponent, because any of us could be dealing with the injuries and the issues that Josh and Jack are dealing with. And we've all dealt with injuries to some extent. Some of us less than others. Brennan, but excuse me, something in the throat there. Got to get it out there. But again, it's a matchup with an opponent with an ailing team. We can say that, and it's nice. I love the little things. We can do little things like play Jonathan Brooks. Hell yeah. Justin Herbert's not going to have a great day against Kansas City. I will say that Kansas City is not the defense they started the season out to be, but I think this is going to be a tough matchup. I love the Jonathan Brooks play against Philadelphia. Philadelphia's definitely stepped it up, but you can get runs inside the red zone against them. Bucky Irving, Las Vegas. This is going to be juicy. We talked about Amon St. Brown. I think even though he will be heavily looked at by this Green Bay secondary, I do believe that he still has a nice game. This is just Detroit and Green Bay is such a fun game, and they play each other so well. So yes, I like this. Malik Neighbors has been atrocious. I get you have to start him. But again, it's just you love the matchup. You're just hoping for magic because he's I think if we were in a 12-man league, you're dropping him. Ferguson, Turd Ferguson, it's funny hat, comes back tight end against Cincinnati. You're hoping he plays. He's limited in practice. Another boomer bust player, touchdown dependent Odunze, but it's sure better than Juszczyk at the end of the day. It might not actually be. I mean, Isaac Garindo is not like a power runner. He's just really fast. He has a great matchup, but on the goal line, watch them go to Juszczyk here. Just, it's a little bit of a feeling. I would almost added him in another league just because he could get goal line work, and that could be worth something. Great pickup, man. Love it. Chargers defense and Sanders the kicker. It's again, at least right now, 30-point line. We said it's gonna shrink a little bit when Jack gets around to making some changes on his team. It's not gonna change anything if we go back to week 1. This game was really close. It came within 10 points, 90-80. Still not great, Jack. We see the low scoring even from week 1 kind of started. And so I am going to predict that one playoff position, 8-6, Derek Ash, happening in week 14. Okay, now we get to everything that everybody's here to watch, and that is the teams competing to hopefully sneak into one of the playoff positions. And I do want to say, I do believe that you're really only fighting for 2 positions here. And that's mainly because of the matchup with Derek and Jack. Derek's going to win that game, barring a fantasy football miracle, which could happen. But Derek's going to win that game. And that's a guaranteed win. And I don't say that to slight you, Jack. It's just, it is what it is with the matchup, my man. And so that's a spot gone. That's happening. So I do believe, barring some craziness, Derek is in the playoffs. Jordan, I think you're one of the players that even if you win, it's going to be tough. And you need some things to go your way, but the tiebreakers just aren't there. When you look at you with me going 7-7 and Derek and Aaron Grog, even Aaron Felch, I'd have to go back and look at it. I can't remember off the top of my head. You only have so much room for so many notes if you've got that tiebreaker with Aaron Felch. But I do know Aaron Felch has the right tiebreakers, so does Grog to get in. So I think this is going to be a big stretch for you to get in. You really need the right things to happen, but it's still it's like there's still the chance. So we have Jordan Payne trying to fend off Forrest Heart of the Cards Dozier here in week 14. And I will say it's looking like it could go in your favor. It's an 8-point line, projection 114-105. It's a bit of a bye week, dealing with injuries as well, Forrest, unfortunately. And, you have been eliminated, but much like Jack, the opportunity to create some chaos and not so much, not too much chaos, but in Jordan's world, it means everything. And so you would eliminate Jordan with a win here. Let's start with the breakdown. Josh Allen getting the Rams. And, if Josh Allen can do what he did in the snow, traveling to nice, warm, enclosed LA, if they want it to be, why not? We're going to have a great day. Tyrone Tracy and Nick Chubb get New Orleans and Pittsburgh. Taper expectations there for Chubb just because Pittsburgh has a great defense. Tyrone Tracy, New Orleans could be interesting. You like the volume, you like the yardage. or A.J. Brown and Cooper Kupp. Now, we're definitely tapering expectations, Cooper Kupp in Buffalo, but A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith might not play. Carolina all day. Yes, please. Dalton Kincaid with the Rams needing that stack to pay off. Again, Isaiah Pacheco, who I don't know if I really want anything in the running back in Kansas City, but he certainly got the usage you were looking for compared to Kareem Hunt, but they're just eating into each other. So needing a touchdown here with Pacheco, I believe. Tampa Bay did not look good. I picked them up. I was going to pick them up in this league. I did pick them up in my other league. And I have a little bit of an alarm bell going off because their playoff matchups are just fantastic. However, they look horrible, and they just might be absolutely atrocious. So we're banking on a matchup with an absolutely banged up Las Vegas team here. I'm running them as well. Why not? Chris Boswell. Oh, if I had Chris Boswell, I feel like I'd be going to the playoffs, no question. But can he get you the win here in Week 14? You are certainly hoping so. But as we have seen, Forrest writes his own destiny, is a man who forges his own fate. And can you give the regular season a last huzzah and pull Jordan down into the consolation ladder? Jameis Winston, who looked fantastic last week in a divisional game against Pittsburgh. I want to taper expectation, and I want to, the projection shows that it's there with Pittsburgh, but it's the Grand Wizard, man. It's Heart of the Cards, Forrest Dozier, which I can't show you because of my Irish wisp hair. Okay, you're lucky you got the ginger up top and down below. But let me say, it gives me the goosebumps, and it's just something says, Cleveland, Jameis, because of Forrest. Could it happen? Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, running backs 1 and 2. Atlanta for Aaron Jones. I love that. David Montgomery in Green Bay. He's going to get his 10 or whatever, 10, 12 points. But I feel lots of ground and pound coming in this game. I think David Montgomery it's amazing to me. And it's one of those, like, he's good enough to make trades viable, and maybe that's why he was passed around so much, but just absolutely is a game changer. And in this game, could be a game changer for you. Cedric Tillman, this is where it's big. I love this stack. If you had this stack, I think you win this game for us just outright. However, with the concussion, it's why I dropped Romeo Doubs. It's Week 14. You're not playing the next week in the NFL anymore. If the concussion's a 1 week minimum, you're out. I mean, we have gone from winning, so this is just the facts. We have gone from winning Super Bowls with concussions, okay, to it's an automatic 1 week, you're taking a break, and apparently we go on IR for concussions now. That's the NFL that we live in, boys and girls, okay? So our grandparents are rolling over in their graves for lots of freaking reasons, but that's one. Okay, so anyway, Cedric Tillman's not going to play. You're going to have to replace him, just FYI. It's coming. Just letting you know. It's coming. Jalen Waddle, New York Jets. Something tells me, yes, please. It's a tough matchup. They have a championship defense, but maybe that's after Tariq. We'll see. Tough. Like I said, tough matchup. Travis Kelce, Chargers, love it. You know me when it comes to tough matchups. It's almost, again, you know me when it comes to tough matchups. I like my tight ends. Okay, MVS maybe should have played him last week. Wouldn't have made a difference. Would have made it a little closer. But gets the Giants. You're absolutely playing him this week, and it is so interesting. The NFL puts major teams on bye. 6 teams on bye in Week 14, and we are starting, boys and girls, I'm one of them. People like MVS. And we'll talk about who I'm starting when we get there, but lots of this happening. I mean, it's a bold move to drop Tank Dell, but he's horrible. That's what we do in week 14. I love the dedication. Jacksonville defense, Tennessee looking a little better. We'll see. You pick up who you pick up. Elliott, the kicker. This game is going to be very, very close. Let's pull up what happened in week 1, as of course we already know everyone's playing a rematch from their week 1 opponent. Jordan walked away with a 9-point win, 113-104, and look at the projection. 9 points. But let me tell you, guys, this is fantasy football prime time, week 14, baby. Can Heart of the Cards Force Dozier reverse what happened in week 1? Can Jordan somehow find a win and just hope to get into one of those 4th, 5th, or 6th seeds, get into the playoffs? Because that's what matters. Here's what I think. I think that it's going to be a close game. But if you ever just had that gut feeling, and this is nothing, this is Jordan, truly, I just have to caveat, it's not that I'm just going against you. I just feel it in the gut. Give me Forrest, Heart of the Cards, Dozier to get an elimination for Jordan here in week 14. Game 4 is going to give us a top 4 matchup. At some point in time, we could be looking at this being a rematch in the playoffs. We already have had the first match in week 1, so very much a possibility that these owners could meet a third time, but we're going to talk about this time, which is the second time, and that's Chandler Taylor taking on Brennan Dangerous Scala. It is the number 4 team taking on the number 1 team, 7-6, taking on 11-2. This game is going to be, so it's another 9-point game. It's another 9-point game, and they're all like this as we keep going, boys and girls. So you just sit down, okay? You should have brought enough food and drink to last the whole hour. So we're not going anywhere as we're breaking this one down. Chandler, a win. It's another, Derek, me, you. We win, we're in. That's what you got to do. That's what needs to happen. Brennan's lost 2 in a row. Heavy bye weeks happening late. This is what happens in fantasy. It's another situation like that. Can you give him his 3rd loss? I just want to say, according to some projections, Brennan does lose this game, and not just because of the ESPN. I'm looking at multiple fantasy analyst programs, fantasy pros, fantasy football, whatever you want to say, but there's a lot of things that say that Brennan are going to lose this game. So Chandler, a win, like we said, and you're in. A loss, jeopardy, 7-7. You've got the tiebreaker with me, but do you have it with Aaron or Aaron Grog? Do you have it with Aaron Felch? Do you have the Aarons? Okay. Do you have that 7-7 tiebreaker with Derek? Okay. These are the things you're looking into. Let's break it down. Will Levis coming in as our starter. Brock Purdy is running into a very tough matchup with Chicago. It's a bold move, Cotton. Brock Purdy struggled mightily in the snow. You would want to think they bounce back, but it's been so rough lately, with the injuries. No CMC, no Jordan Mason, no Brandon Ayuk. Debo's been not what you traded him in to be. DeAndre Swift struggling a little bit. So, an interesting play with Will Levis at Jacksonville. Love the matchup, I will say. I cannot remember, forgive me, gentlemen, one of you, Austin Allen or Jonathan Andrews, I want to say it was you, Austin, pretty sure it was Austin, had told me weeks ago, and when I had a tough matchup, and I was starting Geno in a tough matchup because Kyler was, I believe it was the week Kyler was on a bye, told me to start Will Levis. And I laughed. I was like, no way. Should have started Will Levis. Okay. So Love the bold play here in week 14. Bijan Robinson, DeAndre Swift, running backs 1 and 2. DeAndre Swift banged up, does run into San Francisco, tapering expectation. You need Bijan to be all that he can be and more, okay? And it's like I said, you can pass on Minnesota. They have a very stingy front seven. I think this the volume and everything's there. It's just I just want to taper expectation a little bit here. Okay, it could be a 15-point day, my man, and I'm running Bijan in week 14, and I need him to have a good day because I showed you guys in our chat. I'm fifth in both leagues. Same situation, sixth seed and above go in, and in that league it's points for. Okay, so the head-to-head records that I have mean poo-poo in that league. So, it's record and points for. So, definitely understand needing Bijan. So I'm tapering expectation here with him. Jordan Addison, great play. Atlanta, love it. Jamar Chase could save your day against Dallas here. K. Daughton has been rough. You're going to love it. This is a great matchup with Las Vegas. They, I think, are like number one. They're like a top 5 team on giving up, points to tight ends. So this is a good matchup for K. Daughton. Debo has got, and it's going to be rough. Chicago, so good against the opposing wide receivers. Pittsburgh is a great play. Obviously, you're going to switch Will Lutz. So this projection of 9 points is going to go up a little bit here. So bear that in mind. Brennan, we talked about it, dealing with the bye week. No Lamar Jackson. It's not happening. Not going to be able to play him, and you get Matthew Stafford against Buffalo. James Cook, Khalil Herbert, running backs 1 and 2. James Cook was fantastic. Should be more of the same. Khalil Herbert is definitely a touchdown dependent. You're just hoping for a vulture touchdown here. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, wide receivers 1 and 2. CeeDee Lamb, you're just hoping the volume's there. You're hoping some kind of a rapport with, Cooper Rush and George Pickens. A little bit of a tapered expectation here against Cleveland. But we saw, again, this could be a huge shootout game like it was with Denver. Noah Gray, and I feel like I can't remember who said it from the fantasy footballers, but he made the perfect analogy that just let Noah Gray, the tide of just wash over you and accept that you can play 2 tight ends in Kansas City. I almost picked him up myself, but with no Goddard, Calcaterra, Carolina, they give up the most points to tight ends. So that's right. Okay, so Carolina is the most, and I think Las Vegas is the second most when we look at K. Daughton. That's why I wanted to play Goddard, and anyway, we'll get there when we get to me. No, Gray, I like to play. Drake London also like to play. We talked about it. We can pass on Minnesota. This could very well be the difference maker for you in this game. It's really close. Like I said, once he replaces his kicker, it's going to be a little bit of a larger margin. Let's go ahead and look at week 1. We already know who won week 1. As, Brennan went on an 11, undefeated tear. So 121 to 81. I don't think you're going to score 121 points, Brennan. Chandler, likewise, I think you're going to score more than 81 points. This game will, I think, score into the hundreds. And I don't like to say it. The Debo drops off. Drake London's better. Definitely like the tight end play better with K. Daughton. The wide receiver play is going to, I think, pan out to be better. Jordan Addison is going to score into the double digits. And then at the end of the day, the running back core is better. I like Will Levis. I hate this, dude. I need you to lose, Chandler. I need you to lose because you beat me And so I already know that I'm a tiebreaker behind you. So I need someone who has a tiebreaker with you that I've beat to push you out. And it's just, dude, I've been fighting such an uphill battle when I look at myself, and trying to keep my personal bias in week 14 is so freaking hard, guys. I try and remain so neutral doing this podcast. I really try to be just Commissioner Joe, not final boss until you play me. Like, that's the one week, the one matchup that I change. And so, for the love of God, I hate this. Please, Brennan, just do me a favor and beat this man. I don't know. Maybe, oh God, give me Chandler Taylor. Oh my Christ, to go 8-6. That'll put Brennan at 11-3, but it means that there's only one playoff spot, and I swear this is what's going to happen, man. I know this is what's going to happen. I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because I'm not talking about the matches and everything, but it's like I feel like Derek's going to win, Chandler's going to win. That's 2 spots gone, and that means that Aaron Grog, Aaron Felch, and myself are all fighting for one playoff position, and I've lost to both these men. And I'm not trying to give it away too late, but yes, in week 14, Chandler Taylor's probably going to the playoffs. We're not stopping. We're not stopping. This train has left the station, and we're not going to stop until we find out who is in and who is out. So we're going to jump right in to game number 5 as co-commissioner Aaron Grog is going to have a rematch with defending champion number 3, Austin Allen. And this game has so much riding on the line. If co-commissioner Aaron Grog can get a win, 7-7, he's got the right tiebreakers with those who are, like myself, going to possibly go 7-7. Derek and Chandler, Aaron Felch. I mean, this is Aaron Grog can definitely sneak his way into a 6th seed here. I don't know about a 5th seed, but I definitely think you could get a 6th seed here. Austin, if there was ever a time that I needed you to be that defending champion, it is this week. You beat Aaron. You have a chance. If I were to beat Jonathan, that would put you into that number 2 seed. So you're hoping for a win from me, and then you will eliminate. There's no chance that Aaron Grog would make the playoffs with a loss here. So let's go ahead and break this game down. Joe Burrow is going to get Dallas, and their horrible defense is going to be great. Not that Cincinnati's defense is great here. It's just the offense is fantastic. Got a stack. We'll get to that in a minute. Rashad White, like I said, we can play Bucky Irving. We can play Rashad White. I think after the game with Carolina, they're going to play angry. They get Las Vegas. So, yeah, I think Rashad White is going to have a nice day here. Alvin Kamara against the Giants. Yeah, I mean, who else is there to go to? No Taysom Hill. No Olave. We have, there's nothing. It's deep passes to MVS. Maybe if Juwan Johnson plays and he's banged up, and Foster Moreau's not fantastic. So it's Alvin Kamara's show with New Orleans, and you get a matchup with the absolutely garbage dumpster team that is the New York Giants. Garrett Wilson, we're tapering expectation. It's been bad. We get Miami. T. Higgins, we talked about it. We get a stack with Joe Burrow, with Dallas, fleecing. You pulled Jack into that little rape. Oh, no, that was Jamar Chase. I'm trying to remember. Was that Jonathan Andrews? Pretty sure it was. Yeah, so good for me. I don't want to play T. Higgins against Dallas this week. That's good. Tucker Kraft. Now, this is, I think, a little bit different. Normally when I'd be like, hey, those tough defenses, love the tight end. This is one of those matches I don't like the tight end. Just Jordan Love, how they move the ball. Detroit's good. I think this is a I don't know why you're not playing Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I get he's been a little inconsistent, but really coming on lately. I think I like to play with Sam Laporta a little better, but I get it. I mean, this could go either way. I mean, both these guys can end up with about the same amount of points. I get it. Jerry Jeudy, who I love. I mean, talk about night and day. Could have been an interesting revenge game. Really had a great day against us Denver Broncos. But yeah, I love Jared Judy. You're just tapering for expectation here for Pittsburgh. No Tillman, though, so that could help. Will Pittsburgh focus more on Jerry Jeudy or Elijah Moore? Man, I would love. I mean, yeah, I love Jerry Jeudy here. I would love to be able to start Elijah Moore this week and have the confidence I would if he was Jerry Jeudy. So, yes, I do love the play here. Cleveland's defense and McLaughlin, the kicker. So, again, 123 on this projection. No Jaden Daniels this week. No Javonte Williams. No Denver defense. So, Austin, it is a week where you're dealing with a little bit. So, not great that you want to start Derek Carr. But we just talked about the matchup with the Giants. Now, what you don't like is that probably going to be dumping off passes to his running back, which you don't necessarily like. Saquon Barkley and Jahmyr Gibbs, running backs 1 and 2. They get Carolina and Green Bay. Who's not getting a touchdown between these guys? And I don't want to have to play you, but you very well could run Saquon Barkley into a late playoff, even to a championship game here. And I would love for you to eliminate Aaron via the use of Saquon Barkley against Carolina. You know it's 20 points minimum. You know it's coming, Aaron. So you just got to weather the storm. Darnell Mooney, which I talked about, I do like this matchup with Kirk Cousins here. JSN gets Arizona, tapering expectation there. Austin, George Kittle, Chicago, they're good against the secondary. And this is one where I like the matchup because, I mean, who else? Who else? I mean, I almost like, Juwan Jennings more than Debo. I love George Kittle more than Debo. Yeah, no CMC. Isaac Gruendo is not a power back. He's a speedster. So give me George Kittle, who's not banged up in this game. No injury designation. The double. Oh, you guys. It's week 14. We can't be doing double tight end starts in week 14. Look, man, you're not that desperate, are we? Wan'Dale Robinson. No Devonta Smith, okay. Man, talk about wide receiver woes. If I had Olave and Devonta Smith, I'd be really in some trouble. I cannot believe you're going to have to start Jonnu Smith against the Jets championship defense and hope to beat Aaron Grogg in a week 14 matchup. Like that is gross, and I get he's been great. But it's a tight end versus Jerry Jeudy, who is on fire. That's a huge, huge difference. I can't believe the game still. Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is keeping you in this game. Tennessee defense and Blake Grupe, the kicker. I hate this. Like I can't keep making decisions that would jeopardize my own playoff. Like, do you see Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen where we're at? This is how tight this league is. That's what she said. This league is this year. I mean, even with all the chaos of the draft and Forest and some crazy trades from lots of different people, I do not know what to do. This is a 3-point game that could really go any way. The running back core is well within, it's not even close. But the quarterback play is 100% in Aaron's favor. If we have to compare true wide receiving cores, I would give it to Aaron because, one, we're not having to start 2 tight ends. And at the end of the day, the matchups are better. But this is going to be a weird thing. You know how I always pick against Aaron and he wins? And when I pick for him, he loses. So that's what's going to happen. I have to use the fantasy juju in against Aaron. It's reverse psychology. So I'm going, I can't let the words. I can't do it. Okay? Austin, for the love of God, Saquon Barkley gets the win. If you eliminate Aaron Grog, it's over. The chances of me going into the playoffs are almost assured. Austin, do your job. For the love of God, prove you're the defending champion. Beat the co-commissioner. Help a brother out, okay? I brought you into the greatest league that ever was or will be. Give me Austin Allen to get the win. I'm not jujuing myself. Austin Allen to get the win in Week 14 and eliminate the co-commissioner. It will be the first time that Aaron has missed out on the playoffs since 2016. Do your job, Austin. Do your job. Game 6 features two owners who, and I almost made this game of the week. It's so deserving of a game of the week. But at the end of the day, these owners are not ranked. And one of these owners will be eliminated from playoff contention, guaranteed. And one of these owners just might make it into the playoffs. And that is a match that features Aaron Felch, the lone Wisconsinite, taking on Brock Hudgens, Cinderella 2024. This match is within 2 points, less than 2 points. Truly could go any way. And it's so crazy. I will say right off the bat, Aaron, you've got the better head-to-head breakers. If you win and the right people lose, you definitely could see yourself as a playoff team. Brock, you lost so many to almost every single upper tier current playoff team that even if you were to go 7-7, it's going to be a little bit of a stretch with the head-to-head. But it's not impossible. Okay, it's a very steep hill, but hitting 7-7 is the first step. And the question is it time to pumpkin? Is it the end of Cinderella and her historic trip in 2024? Let's go ahead. We're going to break it down with Mr. Felch first, who has almost in his right the micro Cinderella story. Both these owners could be Cinderella's. Brock has the more epic story, Aaron. Unfortunately, your problem was just getting outscored. Scoring is not the problem. Productivity is not the problem. The team is doing their job. Your problem was that anybody and everybody's going to have a great week against you. And the fantasy gods said, well, we're going to give him a little light at a light at the tunnel. He's going to go on a 3-game win streak at the end of the year, and is very possible that he could just sneak in, going to throw you. We're going to talk about your waiver pickup here in a minute. But then Brock was written off, was left for dead, couldn't score, couldn't get players on the field. Tua out, the Dolphin 2.0 experiment not working. Effectively you lose 1-2 more games, you're done. I mean, you lose the 7th game, and then you take your loss like you did. That's 8. You're out. But no, at the right time, we start winning, and in the last 7 weeks has won 6 of those games and is putting up major points. Survived a huge game last week. I cannot wait. Both these owners, 6-7, coming off major win streaks. Let's break it down. Jalen Hurts, Carolina, huge play for Mr. Felch. The points are coming. Tony Pollard, Isaac Gruendo. That's a really tough name to say for it being so simple, but you love the matchup. Tony Pollard, Gruendo with Chicago. We can run on them. You just hope the speed. He's 100 percentile with speed. That's nuts. Jaden Reed, Lad McConkey, wide receivers 1 and 2. Detroit and Kansas City, we're tapering expectation. Okay, but Lad McConkey is why you're here. Okay, this dude is winning people their games. He's putting people in the playoffs. Can he do that for you against Kansas City's defense? We're going to see Hawkinson, a little bit of a roller coaster. Atlanta, it's a great matchup. Great matchup. Can he get this double-digit projection? Very much, I think, within the realm of possibilities. Kyron Williams has to have a game like he did last week, but unfortunately, we're going to taper expectation here. I think this 15 points is a lot. You can actually run on Buffalo, okay? It's not that they're the greatest run defense. They're good, okay? But I do feel the huge game against San Francisco in the snow. They're playing hot, okay? I think that the Rams are going to play from behind here, which I think is going to – I think this 15 points is on the high end of what Kyron Williams is going to do. Minnesota, the defense, and Nick Folk, the kicker. It is 120. But would you believe it if I told you that the Cinderella man himself has the projection? It's less than 2 points. That means it could be anybody's game. But absolutely, just for the fun of talking about it, Brock Hudgens projected to win this game and get to 7-7. Could you imagine? What did I tell you? It can happen. Will we see it? Will we see it? Here we go. Sam Darnold, Atlanta. I love the matchup. A-Chain, great, but we got to taper expectations, Brock, here against the Jets, okay? Rico Dowdle, Cincinnati. I love that play, okay? Rico Dowdle's looking great. Cincinnati's not a defense I'm afraid of. Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, wide receivers 1 and 2. Mike Evans is back. Las Vegas is a great matchup. The question is, Tyreek Hill here against the tough Jets. Deflected touchdowns is what you need, my man. This is what you need. Trey McBride needs a big game, and I do like him more than Hawkinson against Seattle. You saw what happened the last time. It was all Trey McBride. Got a rushing touchdown. Please don't let that happen. No vulturing James Conner. I'm down for Trey McBride. I got Kyler Murray. I'm with you, Brock. Yeah, I beat you. I got the tiebreaker, so I'm not worried. I would love you to win. We'll get there in a minute, baby. Hold on. We got to get through the analysis. Okay, calm those Cinderella titties. Okay, we'll get there in a minute. So I love Trey McBride. Let him get passing touchdowns, but no vulturing the running touchdowns, okay? But I definitely love him more than Hawkinson. What did I say about Juwan Jennings? Already beat you to the punch talking about force. Love me some Juwan Jennings. It's going to be a tough matchup. Maybe this is more George Kittle. I say I love Juwan Jennings. I don't like the matchup with Chicago, but just something in the bones. I like Juwan Jennings here. I certainly, again, like him more than Debo. I like him number 2 behind George Kittle when it comes to the passing game. Okay? Philadelphia's defense, it's going to be a great day. Great pickup for Carolina. And Bates, the kicker, in Thursday night football. Green Bay's got a stinky defense. This could be a 10-point game. I could easily see this being a 10-point game for Bates. You're going to need it to be. I kind of tipped my hat because I can't keep giving things away and there's only one spot that we think is really up for grabs, okay? That's what really is happening. We got 5 owners fighting over what is really going to be a 6th seed if you believe Derek and Chandler are in. And so we need Aaron Grog to lose, and I need Aaron Felch. Brock, my man, get this win. Even with a win, I think you and Jordan, this is the one thing. I think you and Jordan, even at 7-7, the tiebreakers are going to be really tough against you guys to get into the playoffs. And so you really need if you're Jordan and Brock, everybody needs to go 7-7 that is fighting for that 6th seed because it's going to give you the best chance with your tiebreakers to sneak in. Okay. Nevertheless, it's Mr. Felch that I need to lose. Could this be a week where you're gonna? I think both. This is going to be this is going to be a high scoring game, and one of these it's going to be it's going to be what we've talked about all season. It's going to be the worst case of you love the production but you hate the outcome, and I'm saying it. And Aaron, I know this is going to be to your chagrin, sir. It's happened to you all year. You have been outscored by your opponent almost every week. You know, even your wins, some of them were close. Okay, it's been a great run. The fantasy gods are cruel, my friend. They are cruel mistresses, and I don't say that to taunt them. They know who they are. Okay, they've given you Gruendo. They've given you a chance to smell. Maybe you can even taste the playoffs. But the Cinderella story, I don't even care if Brock is 7-7 and doesn't make the playoffs. I'm sure he doesn't care. I'm sure he cares, but he doesn't care because at the end of the day, he winds up at the top. What would be the top of the consolation ladder? Maybe he winds up as a 6th seed, but the point is, he's not in the gutter. He's not where he was literally 8 weeks ago. Give me. Oh, I almost forgot because I did. I forgot it in the other one, and I'm sorry, guys. Let's look at what happened. This is what happened in week 1. 137 to 117. It was one of those weeks that Brock didn't outscore you, but back on track. Brock, you have an opportunity to eliminate. Like I said, one of you's eliminating the other. But give me Brock Hudgens to go to the big dance to maybe get his glass slippers and meet the prince here in week 14. It's our final game of week 14, which means it's time for game of the week.
I'm ready! I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah! Wubba lubba dub dub!
Bam!
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And our game of the week will feature number 5 in the standings, number 1 in your heart, your commissioner, Joe Johnson, taking on rookie number 2, 10-3, Jonathan Andrews. It's an obvious rematch. We talk about all these rematches of week 1. So much on the line. Jonathan trying to hold on to a number 2 seed, get that round 1 bye. I'm trying to hold on to my number 5 seed, much like my compatriots Derek and Chandler. If we win, we're in. Don't even need to worry if Aaron Grog wins or Brock or Aaron fell. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because we're 8 wins. That puts us in, and that's what I'm hunting today. Jonathan is standing in the way. Yeah, I can rhyme. That's right. Your commissioner's multi-talented. Streams, podcasts, rhyme. What can I do? And that is absolutely nothing. And I'm going to show you what else I can do this week by getting into the playoffs. It is a 3-point projection match. It's so many games are just going to go either way this week. And this is going to be a hotly contested game. I'm sitting at 7-6, came off of a huge win last week, had to get a win. Unfortunately, had to eliminate Forrest. Unfortunately, sorry, not sorry. Eliminate Forrest to do it. Jonathan as well, bouncing back, getting a W, very important, staying there at 10-3. So a lot on the line for both of us. And I will say, both of us dealing with a little bit of bye here. No Jonathan Taylor, no Mark Andrews. I don't get Chris Olave. Of course, Dallas Goedert gets hurt right before week 14 in a match with Carolina when I could use him the most. What happens? Trevor Lawrence gets knocked to shit after just coming back from his non-throwing shoulder injury, and they're eliminated, so they're done with him. It is all the wrong things happening for me here in week 14. It's just not what you're trying to do when you're trying to fight for a playoff position here. Not really the case for you when it comes to buys or anything. You're more dealing with injury issues. Kenneth Walker may not play, but you have Zach Charbonnet. And I don't see that. Yeah, I don't see an injury designation for him. Jacoby Myers might be banged up, but you got old man Thielen ready to go, and he just had a week. Yeah, I don't see anything else. Oh, well, Romeo Dobbs, who I dropped. I get it's a stash for later on, but, and that's another thing. I'm having to make those kinds of decisions here in week 14 because I almost forgot about Romeo Dobbs. Gets a concussion. Can't use him. I mean, it's just, dude, I may not be the most injury-prone team, and that definitely, we talked about it, goes to Josh. I think, Jack and I think even Brock has an argument for all that. But when it comes to just concussions, yeah, that's me. Why all my wide receivers? Why are all my wide receivers getting concussions? Nuts, so, man. So, you, sir, I will say, Breece Hall also dealing with injuries and struggling. That offense with the Jets not looking good, but I mean, you got Brennan Allen, whatever his name, Braylon Allen, whatever. So you've got the backups to both your handcuffs, which is it's a rough thing to roster both handcuffs. But I guess when you're in the position you're in, you're not worried about it being eliminated. You can kind of get away with a little more. So enough with the setup of this match. Let's go ahead and break it down. Kyler Murray, Seattle, for the love of Pete, have a better game than the last one. I mean, that was so atrocious. Cost me a huge win against an opponent I should have beat. I would be in the playoffs had that week gone the right way. Right now, wouldn't even be worried about it. We'd just be playing for funsies. We'll have a playoff position locked up. So, have to do better. Chase Brown, James Conner, running backs 1 and 2. No vulture touchdowns from McBride. We're going to have a great game here against Seattle. They don't have, at the end of the day, they do not have a great defense. Chase Brown, Dallas, he's been the highlight, please. I have no Jonathan Taylor, boys. You have to produce. Have to produce for me this week. No roller coaster, MHJ. The stack works this week. We are going to have a good week. We are making the playoffs. And then it's like, dude, I know Cedric Tillman's not going to play. I've got Elijah Moore on the bench. It's a tough matchup with Pittsburgh. Tennessee's tough too, but Brian Thomas, no, he's on the up and up. He is developing a rapport with Mac Jones. I mean, it's there. So, like, I'm trying not to hope beyond hope, but it's like, do I go with the hot hand and Jameis? And I just don't know. This could change. I'm just saying it could change. I didn't get Jawan Johnson, who is what I wanted, but Grant Calcaterra, going with the matchup, this is 100% a wing and a prayer play, as it's just the greatest matchup with no Dallas Goedert, and I need Devonta Smith not to play. Sorry, Austin, it's what I need. And it doesn't look like he is going to play. Obviously, you have him on your bench, but please, he's got to get into the end zone. And he did look fantastic. It was only one game, but he did look fantastic when he played in the solo when Dallas Goedert was out earlier in the year. The one thing that everybody is talking about, look it up on Sleeper, your other fantasy advice apps, like Nick Westbrook-Akene has just been fire. The whole Tennessee offense coming alive. Chandler starting Will Levis. I'm with you, Chandler, even though I need you to lose, even though it wouldn't matter. So it's like Nick Westbrook-Akene has been going off, but now here we are in week 14. I go back to people like Forrest starting MVS, we're finding whatever life we can, and we're starting it this week. And it's like he's going to get 1 point. He's going to get 1 point, and I can't. Like, we have to. It's Jacksonville. We have to absolutely. We need another 20-point day, my man. Come on, fantasy gods. Listen to my prayers. Look what I do for my fantasy league. I deserve this. Arizona, the defense, and who had 12 points against Seattle last time they played. Mike Wright, I went back and forth, but with the injuries and everything, I just can't go with Jake Moody. Mike Wright against the Chargers are stingy enough, but we know that the refs are going to work with the Chiefs to move the ball, but they can't give it away. So come on, we're going to have a big day from a Kansas City kicker. And look, I'm wearing the Denver Broncos. I don't even like the Chiefs, but we don't play home. Look, Evan, I'm not playing home favorite. Okay, a real fantasy owner plays his worst hated rivals. Okay, I was going to draft Brock Bowers, and I hate the Raiders, but I was going to draft Brock Bowers. Look what Brock Bowers is doing. We're going to talk about that son of a bitch here in a moment. Aren't we? Aren't we, Jonathan? You sniping draft bastard. Oh, you got the stack too. Okay, well, let's talk about Aiden O'Connell, right? Yes, okay. Aiden O'Connell is going to come in as your quarterback against Tampa Bay. If I ever needed Tampa Bay's defense to step up and not be what they were last week, but there's some legitimate concerns. But please, it's Las Vegas. Shut them down. Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, they get Miami and Arizona. So it's tough defenses. I don't think you're going to get Kenneth Walker. I think it's going to be Charbonnet. But either way, taper your expectation given Arizona's defense. Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers. So Devontae Adams looked okay. It's tough matchups. I mean, you got to, the one thing when you buy into the multiple teams, obviously the Jets, in this case, Las Vegas. I mean, but man, it's like the triple plays from Jonathan. Triple Jets, triple Kansas City, triple Las Vegas. Very interesting. And he's 10-3. Maybe it works, But yes, the one thing, if the team does bad, you're going to do bad. So Jacoby Myers, Brock can tell you about that all at the beginning of the year, right? Dolphins 2.0 doesn't work out. Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers, you're just going to get you're hunting everything in the air that you can get in the Las Vegas matchup. Please, Tampa Bay. Jordan I've never been so much for Jordan and his defense, my man. Holy moly. And Brock Bowers, I mean, we saw it, like you beat Chandler, which, of course helped me out, but it's 30 points isn't right. Not from a tight end, not when tight ends have been so, it's like not just bad, but this year abysmally bad. D-Hop, Chargers, that one I feel like could go either way, and D-Hop's really settled into a role. Man, dude, it definitely could go. It could go your way. It's a nice flex, but I think it's very akin, and maybe even more of a consistent play than Westbrook Akine. Obviously we're just hoping on the continued success that Will Levis and that Tennessee offense are showing right now, and it's a great matchup. I definitely have the better matchup. Chargers have a very stingy defense. Buffalo defense and Dicker the kicker. It's 111-114. Jonathan for the second week, let's pull it up. Almost forgot. Almost went into it. You get so excited. The week one doesn't even matter. It's like I cover it because it's there. It doesn't matter with these matches. Week 14 is the only thing that matters. But the people are here for the stats. The people are here for the info. Nobody wants this week to end because when it does, some of us are going home. In week one, it was a shellacking, 149-100. I cannot have more of the same. For the second time this season, Jonathan, you're playing Final Boss. It's revenge time here in week 14. And Jonathan, I said it earlier, the fantasy gods are cruel. You've been sitting here at number 2. You're thinking you're going to get this week 1 bye, and you all of a sudden here comes these injuries, okay? And everybody else has been dealing with them. And it's time that some kind of semblance of justice creeps back into the league, and I think we're seeing that across a couple of games. I haven't missed the playoffs since 2018. I've only missed the playoffs 2 times in the entire 13-year history of the Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen. It is not about to happen. I'm going to hand Austin Allen that number 2 seed in the first round bye. You're not going to get that 11th win. You're still a rookie. I'm going to show you how it's done here in week 14. You know how it goes. Get the fuck off my lawn and let's take a look at some power rankings. And this is the last time we'll look at power rankings in the sense of a weekly power ranking. Next week starts the overall outlook on where we think things are going to end up. At the top, it's Brock Hudgens, the Cinderella man. Oh my goodness, how does that make you feel, Chandler? You know, I guess that 8th win, that guaranteed win that I've been so worried about may not happen. Austin Allen, now that's what I like to see, but look who's right next to you. It's Aaron Grog, and like I said, I could have made an argument that Chandler and Brennan, Austin and Aaron Grog, Austin Felch and Brock Hudgens, me and Jonathan all could have been game of the week really here in week 14. And maybe that's what it should have done. Just done a general games of the week, as it's just a great matchup here. Great matchups here in week 14. Jordan at number 4, Jonathan at number 9. Oh my goodness. Forever Unclean Evan actually rounds out our top 6 there, and Aaron Felch at 7. So, I mean, you see right there, there's Aaron Felch at 7 taking on number 1 Brock. So, Aaron, it's going to be tough. And Brock, this is where I need you to do me a favor, baby. Come on. We talked about it. Right next to him, Chandler Taylor, Derek Ash. And so you see that we've got some top owners here at the end of the regular season that are dealing, injuries, bye weeks. It's really, you've got a lot of the owners in the lower echelon of the standings here on the upper portion of the power rankings in week 14. So interesting how the end of this year has gone when it comes to matchups and teams that are on the lower end of the standings really performing late. Brennan, the number 1 team again, finds himself here towards the lower end, just right into what I said, number 11. And then, of course, Forrest Dozier, Jack Little Raven, and Josh sitting here at the bottom. Not too much of a surprise there. It's kind of a struggle right now, guys. So, find where you're at. Find your opponent. Does that make you feel any better or worse? Normally, this is where I wish everyone good luck in their week and, but my opponent. I can't do that because if I wish everyone luck, there's a chance that I'm not going to the playoffs. So I just want to say, enjoy the last week of fantasy football here in the Fantasy Gents. The next time we meet, we will know who is in, who is out, and it will be round 1 of the playoffs, baby. Are you ready? Can you feel it? It's almost upon us, and then 3 weeks and it's over, boys and girls, and then we're in the dead zone again, my friends. I hate to say it. It comes and it goes. So have fun. Take care. Be safe. Jonathan Andrews, get the fuck off my lawn. Everybody, peace out.